Hi there, what's going to happen this time? Welcome back to Donington Park for the second and final time this weekend, and welcome to the latest instalment. You getting as excited as I am of the FIM Yamaha R3 BLU CRU World Cup of 2025, and we're at the halfway point of the season. At the end of this race, we will have had 3 rounds and a total of 6 races with exactly the same duration still to go after this in Hungary, Aragon and Estoril. Take in the setting, soak up the atmosphere and the glorious weather. 26 degrees Celsius ambient temperature here at nearly 4:15 in the afternoon, and 35 degrees Celsius track temperature. It's wonderful to see so many of the ever loyal British motor racing public, and those of you who have travelled from far and wide to Donington. And I know there are plenty of you here because of the reception we've all received in the paddock down in the R3 Cup Village. Yesterday we had real drama. Tepai Kugawa became the first ever Japanese race winner in the 4.5 season history of the championship. Alex Di Persio survived all of the drama, including a big high side for Okanuki at the end of the opening lap, and then more accidents towards the end of the race. And Pastore was third for his first ever podium. Ivan Spada, who wrapped up the Italian championship last weekend at Modena, was fourth yesterday on his World Cup debut, with David Novak, for the second time in the last 2 races, shooting up the order from towards the back and into the top 5. It's Arai Agaska, the popular Indonesian, and loads of support for him. We can see all of the comments streaming in on the Yamaha Racing YouTube channel on pole position. Fastest laps from yesterday have decided the grid for the top 9 in this race. Di Persio, the championship leader, is second. Mario Sales is third, following his second successive victory in World SBK's Got Talent, which I know means a lot to Mario Sales when he was singing last night at the paddock show, the John Legend Classic, and it was very well received by all of the crowd here yesterday evening. So just to take you through the grid, Agaska on pole, as I say, from Di Persio. Sales joins them on the front row. Aimon Boccanegra was involved in a last lap collision yesterday. Sales was involved in that, and so was Agaska. Boccanegra is fourth on the grid from yesterday's winner. Kugawa, number 26, that's Tepai, the 17-year-old from Japan. Ivan Spada starts 6th. Pastore, a podium man yesterday, 7th on the grid. Chris Clark is 8th, he's already a winner, and erstwhile championship leader. David Novak 9th, Okanuki 10th, but made a very, very good start yesterday. Salvatore Germano is in 11th place, but Gene Turner, who is in 12th position, will need to take a penalty in this race, as will Indy Sunsala, and you can just see at least one of those riders testing out the long lap penalty lane there in the background. Gene Turner, who incidentally is half Kiwi, half... So just make their way up to Golos now. Gene Turner, half Kiwi, half Japanese, and he has raced here before in Britain in the 2023 British Talent Cup. Here's your championship situation. 25 points available, though, for a win. So Di Persio, Clark and Kugawa could all depart Donington, and most of them flying from East Midlands Airport, which is just across the way from here at the end of the evening, as we now get ready then on the grid. There's Di Persio, the Italian, number 69. Real tension now with Arai Agaska on pole position. Greg Haynes with you here in the commentary box. 10 laps in front of us, and here we go. And away we go. Good start from Agaska, an ideal getaway for the Indonesian. Not so for the championship leader, Alex Di Persio, with the white crash helmet, who drops down into 3rd position. Everybody streaming through Redgate Corner on the opening lap. Good start from Aimon Boccanegra, who's now up alongside Agaska, down through the crane of curves. Kugawa up the inside. Yesterday's winner An extremely brave attempt there for the lead. De Percio edges out Agaska at the old hairpin and moves up into third position. There goes David Novak on the inside of Starkey's, on the inside of the curbs there. The rider from Poland. This is McLean's corner for the first time. Kugawa is leading. Can he do what De Percio did at Misano a month ago and complete the double by winning both races? Out of Coppice corner. The entire field of 18 riders on identical machinery. The Yamaha R3. De Percio up the inside into the Carl Fogarty S's. Will they all get through cleanly? The answer, I'm pleased to say, is yes. Don't forget, Turner and Sunsalar need to take double long lap penalties for irresponsible riding yesterday. Look at that. Just shoving on the rear brake there. The back end kicking out for Arai Agaska, number 38. Just diving through for second place, and now he's going to try and chase after De Percio. Alex De Percio leads. This is where Okanuki had that big moment coming out of Goddard's yesterday. No such problems. It's been a really clean first opening lap here with 9 still to go. De Percio into the pit lane exit for a nice wide sweeping line. He's completely entitled to do that. Agaska is second, number 38. Then it's Aimon Bocanegra. Born in Barcelona in Spain. Having a look. Spada is fourth. Kugawa is fifth. Did you see how late De Percio was? Braking and tipping into the old hairpin. Agaska looked at the inside, but he didn't get through. You can't win the race in these opening laps, but you certainly can lose it. Yesterday was a good example of that. Up into Coppice corner. It's a blind approach. Spada go through. Number 43. What a move. The newly crowned Italian BLU CRU champion, side by side now down Starkey Straight with Aimon Bocanegra. Left foot off the foot peg there, and you can see how they bang their way down through the gearbox. Almost at the end of lap 2, and this is the first time this season in 6 races so far that the whole field is still absolutely locked together at the end of the second racing lap. There's those 2 riders, Gene Turner and Indy Sunsalar, taking their first of 2 long lap penalties. Beautifully executed by the duo. They've got 1 more to do, and then hopefully they can tow each other with the slipstream back onto the tail end of the pack. It will be difficult, but not impossible with the way the field is bunched together. You can see them there at the top of the screen. So we're into lap 3, 8 to go, as you can see at the top of the screen. Alex De Percio leads. If Alex wins this race, it will be his 3rd of the season, and that would be half of the races so far. Agaska still second. Here comes Kugawa attacking Bocanegra. Spada behind them. Oh, they're almost touching. Spada's on the grass on the run down into the old hairpin. That was not his fault. Goodness me, that was very, very scary. Ivan Spada, a fantastic job to keep going. He didn't even lose a position. And that's because Kugawa and Bocanegra were so close to one another. Spada was on the grass there at well over 100 miles an hour on the run down into the old hairpin. I will never know how he kept it going. I thought he was going to lose control and crash, and if he had, the bike and the rider would have gone tumbling down the hill in front of the rest of the field. That was a miracle moment there. Down into the foggy S's. Who's going to lead? 4 into 1 will not go. Kugawa leads. There's Bocanegra with the yellow helmet. Kugawa. Agaska, number 38. You can see the Indonesian flag on the front of the bike. Trying to do what he did before, but all to no avail. That's Spada. I imagine just trying to keep himself calm after that focusing moment earlier on in the lap. His eyes will be on stalks, and his heart will have almost leapt out of his chest after that, on the grass through the Craner curves. That was unbelievable. Sunsala and Turner have completed their second long lap. There they are at the top of the screen, just coming into the bridge. So, lap 4, 7 to go. And a real tantalising prospect here on the Yamaha Racing YouTube page and on Discovery Plus. There's Boccanegra on the inside line and he takes the lead. Not for long. Kugawa's coming back at him. No, he's not. Alex Di Persio is number 69, the championship leader. From Pescara in Italy with the white helmet. There he is, look, he's trying to dive to the inside as we get up into McLean's corner. Boccanegra is now in front. I'm on Boccanegra, searching for his second podium of the season and possibly his first win in the championship itself. Absolutely nothing in it here. 3 seconds covering the leading group. 16 riders. Agasca, Boccanegra, Di Persio. Di Persio is now leading. David Novak, number 46 on the inside line. That's going to get so tight there with Mario Sales through the chicane. Chris Clark is in this group as well, the rider from Arlington in Virginia in the United States, as Agasca does what Agasca does best by slamming on the rear brake and getting the back end of the bike out sideways down into Melbourne. It's worked again, and the Indonesian lead. Somebody just removing a tear-off strip there. Alex Di Persio has a look. Look at that for third place. Kugawa goes through on Boccanegra. It's becoming more overcast here now in England's East Midlands. And so the track temperature is 35 degrees, and what's happened at the last corner? Somebody clipping the dust coming out of Goddard's, but everybody still running, thank goodness. Alex Di Persio, a very old head on young shoulders. He was already extremely confident after qualifying here on Friday when he took pole position with his 1:45.0 lap time. Talking of zeros, it's 0 out the front as well at the moment, nothing in it. Now, if it stays like this, and of course it won't, Di Persio's lead will be up to 28 points. But that's assuming he wins the race and everybody else finishes exactly where they are now, which is quite clearly not going to happen. But that would be significant because 25 points are available for a win, and we are yet to see a lead of over 25 in the season so far. The leading quintet with a very small amount of clear air there back in to Spada in 6th place, but that's gone already before our very eyes in the braking zone of the Carl Fogarty S's. There goes Agasca again. Spada on the inside line, and he's just gone from 6th to 4th there. The ever-smiling Ivan Spada. All of the riders, incidentally, were involved in the charity auction here last night and helped to contribute to over £20,000. Look at that. Off onto the grass goes Okanuki. Bad memories there for him. That's where he had the scary moment and high-sided yesterday. And that was all started by Mario Sales, who'd gone up the inside of Goddard's corner. Into the second half of the race. 5 laps down, 5 to go. And now the elbows are really out. Kugawa takes the lead. Look at the LEDs off the bikes as they're on the rev limiter, reflecting in the crash helmet visors. Spada trying to come through from 4th, and he's up into still 4th as he comes out of the old hairpin. Who's in the leading group? Kugawa, Di Persio, Agasca, Spada, Boccanegra, Pastore, Sales, Okanuki, Germano, Charlie Mendes. We've not seen too much of Charlie so far. He had a nasty high side in Portimao at round 1 and it ruled him out of the races. But now the rider from the Caribbean, from the Dominican Republic, Charlie Mendes, 15 years old. He was born in Barcelona in Spain, but has grown up in the Caribbean. He's right in the group. Look out for him, number 6. And incidentally, Mendes is one of only 3 riders in the field, along with Turner and Clark, to have a single-digit race number. Mendes, number 6. Now, if Kugawa can do the double here at Donington, his championship position will look very good indeed. Sales is on the inside line there. He's on the right-hand side of your screen. down into Goddard's again. It's looking good for De Percio to keep the championship lead here today, and he has been the favourite ever since he topped the pre-season test for the R3s, and there he is. That test was at Misano back in March, and yet again people are kicking up the dust by touching the grass verge coming out of Goddard's corner. They are really flirting with danger there. That's the third lap that's happened now. There's a signal from David Novak to those behind him, Okanuki and Sales and Germano, to work together. Don't let the leaders get away, because if you fall out of touch with the slipstream, it can be very difficult to catch up, and Novak now runs wide through the old hairpin. He's lost some ground there. We're into the final third, the crucial final third of this race. Yes, oh my goodness, that's Boccanegra running wide. How they didn't make contact into McLaren's, I will never know. And also wide in the background, slightly there, was Salvatore Germano. Now look at Boccanegra, number 23, because his birthday is on the 3rd day of the month and his father's is on the 2nd. And he worked that out by multiplying 2 by 3 is 6. And that's the day of my mother's birthday, and that's why Boccanegra is running number 23. Mario Sales, the Brazilian now, number 42 on the inside line. It's still a Gasca leading. And I can see on the Yamaha Racing YouTube page that all of your comments are flooding in from Indonesia. I know he already has a huge following in his native Indonesia. This hasn't worked out though, has it, for Boccanegra? He's lost a few positions, and he dives up the inside of Okanuki through Goddard's corner, and that now demotes Kakeru Okanuki as Boccanegra moves up into 7th position. Gasca leads. De Percio goes through. 3 laps to go. Alex De Percio never seems to get flustered. He's extremely experienced in this class, it must be said. His 18th race start. His 2nd full season this year, and he's seen all this before. He knows how to cope with the pressure. But so does Kugawa. Tepai attacks and goes through and takes that 2nd place from Gasca. So it's now Italy leading, Japan is 2nd, Indonesia is 3rd, and there is some daylight between 3rd and 4th places. 4th still is Ivan Spada, this phenomenal newcomer, number 43. And the reason they weave down the Starkey Straight is because they're trying to break the slipstream. The rider at the front of the group punches a nice hole in the air, and everybody else tries to take advantage by following. So what the rider at the front does is attempt to stop them from doing that by moving around on the straight, but you can't move too aggressively because you will be given a penalty, and this is going to get tight. Gasca did a very, very good job there not to hit Kugawa. He looks behind him. Don't do that, because you can see the whole field. And I notice for Okanuki, number 31, the clutch lever protector's being pushed up on the left-hand side of his bike. They're getting very, very tight there. I think that was Pastore, almost being shoved out wide. The two who had to take their long lap penalties, unfortunately, have not been able to catch the field. So Gene Turner, the Japanese rider, out of contention, and so is Indy Sunsalar, the Dutch rider. Although they're fighting one another, they're 16 seconds behind the leader, but that does still mean we have 16 locked together at the front. And what a move that was, down through the craners. Can De Percio deprive Kugawa of a Donington double? That's the question, with only 1.5 laps to go here now. There goes Spada. Attacking, I'm on Boccanegra. But who will the reigning Supersport 300 world champion Aldi Mahendra be presenting the winner's trophy to at the end of this race? That is the question, as your leading group now of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders filter their way through the foggy S's for the penultimate time. The next lap is the last lap, the 10th tour. The last 4 kilometres, 2.5 miles of the Grand Prix circuit here at Donington Park. Spada runs a little bit wide there. Drops into the clutches of Boccanegra. Here is Imon Boccanegra. You can see him accelerating up through the gearbox there with his left foot. The right foot is the rear brake. Right hand is throttle and front brake. Left hand is the clutch. And look how Alex Di Persio has pulled the pin. That is an incredible lead for the Italian from Pescara, 0.7 of a second, and the rest of them now on this last lap of the race are really going to need to work together to catch the Italian. Look at him, he's going great guns, he's almost 1 second ahead as we stream down through Hollywood, and the world famous crane occurs, and they're not helping one another. They're letting him get away because they're absolutely locked together down through the old hairpin. Up the inside goes Imon Boccanegra, that's Kugawa closest to us, and off into the gravel. Unbelievable save again. That was Salvatore Germano. Di Persio's gone, he's 1.1 seconds up the road, and the rest of them are furious. Imon Boccanegra, he was putting moves like that last year, and off into the gravel, and some amazing saves going on there. How on earth they kept going, I do not know. But this is wrecking the race for anyone, second downwards. And absolutely incredible news. Alex Di Persio will be laughing when he watches this back. Side by side now between Boccanegra, Okanuki, Kugawa. Yesterday's winner is up into second place. There goes Salis, passing Pastore. Spada has fallen down now to the back of the pack, and so has Germano. Great save by Spada though through the gravel at McLean's. Di Persio, he's almost taking victory. Oh my word. That is Pastore cutting underneath. Oh, contact, and down goes Kugawa, down goes Boccanegra, and down goes Okanuki, coming out of Melbourne Loop, but up in the front. He's in another league. Alex Di Persio is over the line at the end of another highly eventful race. Victory for the 3rd time this season. He looks behind him and he says, where is everybody? As he wins by almost 2 seconds. Pastore second, Salis is on the podium, and Chris Clark limiting the damage on his first visit to Donington Park to finish 4th, ahead of Charlie Mendes. But there is the confirmation that Okanuki, he was out on the first lap yesterday, the last lap today. Boccanegra down and was involved in the last lap collision yesterday in the same area on the circuit. And also down there was yesterday's winner, Tepai Kugawa. But Alex Di Persio increases his championship lead over Chris Clark to 27 points. And that's a big, big win for him this weekend. It was only 4 points before Donington. 27 now. Charlie Mendes has climbed there by 13 positions from 18th on the grid to 5th at the end. High drama again here then in the R3 World Cup. And we'll hear in a moment from Alex Di Persio, who will be chatting with Tom Bradbury down in Parc Fermé. Alex coming through then for victory. Pastore picks up a 3rd on Saturday and a 2nd on Sunday. Superb weekend for him. And Mario Salis, John Legend himself, Super Mario, who won earlier in the year. He's on the podium here, and that's much better than the 12th place he had here in race 1. And so it means we go into the second half of the season with a 27-point lead for Di Persio over Clark. And there's Okanuki out of the race again. A big high side yesterday, and that scary moment today coming out of the Melbourne Loop. Boccanegra down there with him. Scary moment there. I have to say though, everybody generally was riding very cleanly. We hadn't seen too much bumping and boring until that moment. And what a save, I have to say it was as well, for the likes of Spada and Germano, who had that incident at McLean's on the last lap. And now Pastore has been given a penalty. Number 55, who was 2nd, he's lost his 2nd place and he's dropped down to 3rd for exceeding track limits through the S's on the final lap. So Mario Salis there, number 42, on the left-hand side of your screen, has inherited that 2nd place. The 2 riders you're seeing chatting with one another. Pastore finished 2nd but will now be 3rd. Salis finished 3rd but will now be 2nd. De Percio was 2.3 seconds ahead over the line. Can you believe it? It all started at Melbourne Loop on the penultimate lap. He got the hammer down, pulled the pin, and Alex knew, I've got to get a good run through Goddard's corner, the last corner, before the commencement of that final lap, which he did. He was already leading by 7/10. He broke the slipstream opportunity on the run down to Redgate at the start of that last lap, and then he just went for it, didn't he, down the crane of curbs. That was an incredible final lap there from Alessandro De Percio. One of the best single laps, I would suggest, in the 4.5-year history of the R3 World Cup so far. Here's Alex. Up to 27 points goes the lead. So that means that Alex can go to the Balaton Park circuit in Hungary in 2 weeks' time, and whatever he does, even if he decides not to start the first race, which of course he won't do, he would lead the championship anyway, as only 25 points are available for a win, and his advantage, yes, is 27. Delight again for De Percio. They've discussed these tactics, haven't they? You can tell. Bravo, Alex, indeed. Sales, of course, will now know that he's been promoted to second place. Pastore down to third, exceeding track limits. He touched that green paint coming through the foggy S's, named, of course, after the 4-time Superbike world champion Carl Fogarty. Back-to-back titles for him. First of all in 1994 and 95, and then again at the end of the 1990s, 98 and 99. Luke Brackenbury will be down there and ready with our microphone any second now, and we will hear from Alex De Percio, this splendid rider, the 18-year-old who won't turn 19 until March next year. I'm not going to say champion-elect because there's too far to go still in this series. We're only halfway through. But certainly, I think if you said to De Percio before the first race started in Portugal back in March that, Alex, halfway through you're going to have a lead of 27 points, I think he probably would have taken that. Chris Clark still second overall. This is Mario Sales. Second podium of the season for Super Mario. His first was earlier on in the campaign when he won, of course, that race at Portimao. His breakthrough first victory was also his first podium of the season. But we'll get down now to Luke because Alex De Percio, what an amazing last lap that was.
Alessandro De Percio, an extended championship lead after race 2 victory at Donington Park. How do you feel?
Amazing. This is a magic circuit. I always say that. Then Donington is a part of my heart. First win in the World Championship last year, and now another. Wow, it's incredible. Thank you to Arco Motor University, my team, and from me and Arco Motor University, this win is for Borja Gomez.
Congratulations.
Yeah, lovely tribute there. Borja Gomez, who so tragically lost his life at Manicourt in France, a private test that took place on Thursday of last week, just before the Junior GP weekend. So all of our thoughts with the lost Spaniard, the 20-year-old Borja Gomez, who was a test rider for the Honda World Superbike team here in this paddock. Look at the field there, just streaming their way through the chicane. That really is the story of the race, isn't it? Early doors, but by the time they got to the end of the last lap, De Percio was leading by 2.3 seconds. Incredible. And sorry, I'm so sorry, Tom Bradbury, if you're watching this back, that I called you Luke before. It's been a long day. We'll put that one in the outtakes for the end of the season. If Ian Wheeler and Ollie Rushby compile some sort of outtakes, there's probably going to be quite a few of them, I'm afraid to say. So, Tom, thank you again for the interview. Look at the field in slow motion, making their way up over the crest there, down towards Melbourne Loop. Of course, we used to have the world-famous Melbourne Rise here at Donington Park back in years gone by when the venue hosted the Donington Grand Prix in the very early 1930s. Alex De Percio is so pleased with himself. He knows how hard he had to try and how hard he had to ride there. And so up onto the podium we will go. Georgia Wells there, providing the latest in the way of social media updates, I am sure.
In second place, Mario Sales.
Does Mario Sales know that he's actually second and not third because he went at first? You are second, Mario, because of the penalty for Pastore. Manuele Pastore, 17 years old from Segrate in Italy. Mario Sales, 17 years old as well, from Almirante Tamandaré in Brazil. And your winner, De Percio, the 18-year-old from Pescara in Italy. And there is El Diablek himself, Aldi Mahendra, another Indonesian star, the reigning Supersport 300 world champion, very much still a member of the Yamaha Blue Crew himself, and has had some very, very strong races so far this season with the Evan Bros team in the FIM Supersport World Championship. Araya Gasker, his fellow countryman, by the way, was 6th in that race.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please, your respect for the national anthem of the winning rider, the national anthem of Italy. Mario, please, and join with Alessandro on the top step of the podium. We will get the official.
That's the first podium of the season for Aldi Mahendra then, I suppose, as well, isn't it? As the top three now pose for the official photographs here at Donington Park.
Top three finishes in race 2. Come on, make some noise.
That was definitely, in my opinion, for what it's worth, the most impressive victory of the season so far in the way De Percio did that. De Percio, 2.3 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. That is amazing. I can tell you that on only 10 previous occasions have we had a gap as large as that in 54 races in the R3 World Cup. Truly impressive there. Great first weekend for Spada. Chris Clark definitely deserves a mention, and so does Charlie Mendes. They were both inside the top 5 there. Good damage limitation for Chris. So halfway through the season, 6 races down, 6 races to go. And here's the situation, 27 points advantage at the top. Sales up to 3rd, Pastore shooting up to 6th in the championship this weekend. And Motorland goes 9th as Gene Turner completes the top 10, racing back in Britain after his previous days in the British Talent Cup a couple of years ago. Well, many, many thanks from all of us here at Yamaha, from Ian Wheeler, from Ollie Rushby, and from Tom Bradbury. Greg Haynes here in the commentary box. We will be back, and that will be on Saturday, the 26th of July, as the second half of the season will begin in Hungary, and this man is hungry for the title. Alex De Percio's lead is 27 points. A phenomenal performance here for the Italian as he extends his advantage in the championship. Enjoy your weekend off. We'll see you at Balaton next time out. Bye for now.
In all the race and try to get point, nothing.
And how was that race? Obviously a very different race to yesterday. You won't have seen the chaos behind you. It was complete chaos.